don't usually cook a lot of meat, and when I do cook meat, I cook the highest of quality meats. This is, and I also prefer really flavorful cuts over really fancy, schmancy kinds of cuts. So this is brisket. It's from the decal, which is the dare I say fattier part of the brisket, which means more flavorful and more tender. The brisket, of course, comes from the chest of the cow. These cattle were pastured completely, not grain finished or anything. They were totally grass-fed from the Butner farm. I got it via First Hand Foods, which is a great local meat food hub in Durham. And I basically smoked it over North Carolina hickory for 12 hours. I added salt and pepper, and that's literally all I added because it has so much flavor on its own. I didn't want to clutter that. I'm serving it with a couple different things. The circle on the plate is mujadara, which is a Lebanese lentil spice mixture, which is delicious and almost complete protein in and of itself. And so that alone could be a full meal. That is traditionally served with blackened onion, charred onion. And so in lieu of doing just straight up charred onions as it would normally, I took those onions and I pureed them into an aioli, which I've piped on top of the mujadara. And then finally on top of that is a bruleed baby fennel, also from Will Kramer. So I took the fennel and I roasted it slowly until it got quite tender. And then I bruleed it with a little bit of castor sugar until it got a little sort of caramelized crispy crust. And I thought that light caramel crispiness would pair really well with the deep umami of the lentils and the brisket as well. For a little bit of freshness on the plate, I have a stinging nettle chimichurri. The very last of the stinging nettles were harvested by my friend Nick Fox of Woodland Delicacies. He went up to the mountains and harvested it. Stinging nettles, as you might know, are dangerous. If you touch them while they're raw or they're growing, they sort of sting you like fire ants because they have all these sort of like little microscopic prickles that come out. But as soon as you blanch them, it totally, nullifies. It totally makes them safe and totally delicious. So these were wild foraged up in the Asheville, the mountains, and I simply blanched them and then shocked them in ice water to preserve as much of that bright, fresh green flavor as possible. And then sort of made a chimichurri out of it, the way that might traditionally be done with a little bit of citrus, a little bit of good olive oil, salt, garlic, and some citrus zest. And then lastly, I'm garnishing it with a little bit of red vein sorrel, which has another little bright citrusy flavor to it as well. Any questions? How is it?
Awesome.
Good job.
I hate singing.